We're blessed to have with us on this afternoon Mr. CarolBaker of Academy of Excellence. How are you, Ms. Baker?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
I was talking about it with Sister Curtis. We were talking about the parents, the young parents, claiming that with work and their own responsibilities, they really don't have time to spend with the children. But in looking at it clearly, there's more time than we give credit to.
Right.
There's actually more time, because if if you work an 8-hour job, that leaves plenty of hours for other things. Now, the children, you can't let them stay up all night.
No.
You can't let them just do whatever they want. You could actually single out time for the children, time to spend with them, and time for yourself, time for husband and wife things, time for your single life, as you may have it. So you don't have to just consider it as my life is over, but you have to balance that time. If you were to give some advice to a young parent, young couple, how to balance it out so that they spend the necessary time with the children, but yet have time for themselves too. How would you advise them on that?
Okay, I would say to sit down and write out a list. Okay, write out your itinerary of what you're going to do with the family, whether it be the single parent or the two-parent family. Okay, you work, let's say, from 8 to 5. Okay, so get up early in the morning. I mean, get up at, let's say you have to be at work at 8, so you're going to get everyone up at 6 so they can leave the house at 7. So at least once a week, get up at maybe 4 or 5 in the morning and make a nice family breakfast and sit down and have that little quality time for a half hour and just talk and just and just enjoy one another's company. And then maybe that specific evening, again, when they come home from school, of course, they're supposed to do their they do their homework. Of course, we're not going to break that routine because school is very important as well. But when they come home from school, why not have family prayer, you know, to bring the child home safely from school? Because nowadays, I mean, it's so dangerous out there. It's not guaranteed that your child is coming home every day safely or coming home. Have that prayer. And then from there, after the child does their homework, then have dinner together. And that's something that's a rarity now. There's no family dinners anymore together. You got one parent in one room looking at television, eating a sandwich, another one, you know, in another room maybe sleeping. The child is in his room playing video games, and he's eating a bowl of cereal. That's dinner. A sandwich, that's dinner. Let's not do that. Let's have a little gathering. Let's make it mandatory where we come together in the evening, have a little dinner. Then after that, okay, the child goes to bed now at 8 o'clock, no later than 8:30, because that's mother's time or mother and daddy's time to spend that quality evening together where they can finally sit back and talk about the things that happen at work or happen during the day. But see, you have to, if you have to send that child also to bed early after you spent that little quality time with that child, then he must go to bed 8 or 8:30. So then the parent can either, if she's a single parent or he's a single parent in custody of that child, then he can sit back and kind of think, have a little thought time to himself. Again, maybe talk on the phone, read the word, number one, and then maybe he can, while a child is asleep, maybe he can have Aunt Sue or a grandma or somebody to come in. The child is asleep, you know, make sure that child's asleep, and spend a few hours out with his friends or her friends and things and come back. But this does not interfere with the child. When the child is there, that interaction, you had your interaction with that child for that evening, but make quality time at least 1 hour per evening with that child. And then if you can, have quality time with the family, let's say one weekend out the month, quality time with the child and the parents, another weekend out of the month, and then have maybe the third weekend of the month where you have that quality time and maybe just the two parents out together. And the fourth weekend of the month, have that quality time where you're just at home and you're just you know, you're just relaxing, enjoying, and not be committed to anywhere, and then go to church on Sunday. I mean, it means so much.
I hear in it, I hear scheduling, I hear organizing your life.
Definitely.
I hear having a more mature lifestyle now.
Yes.
You've taken on this new responsibility, whether you chose to or if
Right.
it just came, now you have it, and you have to take a more mature approach to life in general. You say, I don't want to have to write down the stuff I do. I don't want to schedule it, but now you have to, because that young person needs you. And any of us, and anybody can bear witness to what it was like when your parents weren't there. And I remember my father not being there. I remember my mother not being there. I remember not getting hugs when maybe I wanted one or needed one. I remember those things. And if we can remember them, then we should think about that when we're dealing with our children, because they remember, and it affects them, and sometimes it affects them in a very, very negative way. So much so to where they grow up to have controversial lives, doing things that they shouldn't do. One last thing I want to touch on in this particular segment, it's youth freedom. Some parents let their children do pretty much whatever they want.
That's true.
They give them plenty of money. They can get their nose pierced, their ears pierced, tattoos all over. They can dress any old kind of way. Doesn't even matter. And the parents are saying, I'm giving my child freedom. I don't want to be too strict. It needs to be structured. If we don't give them the kind of structure they need, there's going to be very serious problems in the future. And we talk about our society wanting things to get better, looking at kids saying, what are they becoming? It's all of our responsibility to do our part to raise our children in a proper fashion. All right, so just on that, I want your comments on how much freedom should our children be given in a realistic perspective.
Okay, in a realistic perspective, freedom, a child really never has freedom. I mean, there's no such thing as freedom in a child. We're speaking a child. Now, adult is one thing because they have grown up and should have by now learned right from wrong. But a child, there's no freedom with a child. There's maybe just a little leeway where at times he can go over someone's home that is supervised. But see, parents, we're going back to that same thing again, where parents are trying to be friends with the children. So they don't want to offend the child because they don't want the child to be mad with them. So this is why they're allowing this here negative dressing and negative attitudes and flare-ups and calling mommy and daddy by the first name and going where you want and, you know, not coming home when the street lights come on. But see, you don't have to say come home when the street lights come on. Just say, okay, you can go over Bobby's house, but you must know who Bobby's parents are or parent is. What kind of home does Bobby live in? See, I've seen it right now just in the setting I'm in where parents have met one another just over a few months' time, and you'll have a 3 or 4-year-old, or maybe in some instances a 6-year-old will come up to mommy when she comes up to the school to pick up the child. She said, can I spend the night over Mary's house? Mommy don't know Mary from Jan, and mommy would say, well, who's Mary? And she'll say, right there. And mommy said, okay. and then ask Mary. That's what really cracks me up. I cannot believe it. She will sit there and ask Mary, you know, is it all right if she spends the night over your home this weekend? And the little girl will agree. Well, what happened to her parents? I mean, you're supposed to say, well, I have to meet Mary's parents. You know, get to know Mary's parents. And when you meet the parents, say, I would like to come over to your home this weekend and discuss, you know, my daughter playing with your daughter and see what this home life is like. This is why so many children now are out there are being molested and kidnapped and all sorts of things is happening because, I mean, I'm looking at this almost anywhere I go. These people do not know who these children are playing with, what the home life is like, the background and things. No, you supervise and find out where your child is going at all times.
Ms. Baker, we're enjoying talking with you, and we're enjoying the things that you're sharing. And before we exit, we want to give you opportunity to let everyone know how they can contact you and when they should prepare to enroll their children for the fall season. And so you can just express yourself at this time.
Okay, Academy of Excellence is now taking fall enrollment for the year 2001 September, and you may call us at 313-526-1337. Our hours are 6:45 to 5:30 Monday through Friday. We're also right now registering for a summer day camp. The ages for all the groups are 12 months to 11 years old, all ages, all age appropriate activities, and the children are well supervised. The staff to child ratio is government regulated, is according to what is required for by the government. We have all small classes, and the children love it. I mean, they have a beautiful time. We also have tutoring through the summer, so by the time they return back to school in the fall, they're at the grade level that they should be, and are able to master it very well.
All right. So we want to thank Ms. Baker, and we want to thank you for joining us on this edition of Feel the Power. We're encouraging you to strive to be the absolute best that you can be. And for the young man, the young woman with children to raise, please do not neglect those children. Give them the time and the attention that they need and deserve. And also recognize that you are responsible and accountable to the Lord for how you rear those children. This is Elder William Curtis and Ms. Baker joining together with you because we want you to feel the power.